Hey everyone, so have you ever found yourself wanting to upgrade your AMD CPU but felt totally stuck because of your motherboard? I get it. It can be super frustrating thinking you need a whole new system just to get a little extra performance. But guess what? Today I'm going to show you a really simple way to upgrade your AMD CPU without having to swap out that motherboard. Stick around, because this is going to be a game changer. Alright, let's jump right in. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of upgrading your AMD CPU while keeping your existing motherboard. This is not just about swapping out parts, it's about boosting your computer's performance without the headache of a total system overhaul. Whether you're gaming, streaming, or just doing your day-to-day tasks, a new CPU can seriously elevate your experience. So, if you're ready to breathe new life into your rig, let's get started. Before we dive into the upgrade, there are a few things you're going to need. First up, grab a good quality screwdriver, preferably a Phillips head, because you'll be removing some screws. You also need thermal paste, which is super important for keeping your CPU cool and running smoothly. If you have some experience with handling computer components, that's great. But if you're new to this, don't worry, I'll guide you through each step. Just be sure to ground yourself to avoid static electricity damage. Got everything? Great, let's move on. Now, it's time for the main event, the step-by-step guide to upgrading your AMD CPU. Step 1, power down your computer and unplug it from the wall. Safety first, folks. Step 2, open up your case. Usually, you just need to remove a couple of screws on the back and you're good to go. Step 3, locate your old CPU. It's usually right under the CPU cooler, so if you've got a cooler that's bolted down, you'll need to remove that first. Step 4, remove the CPU cooler carefully. Gently twist and pull to disengage it. Don't force it. You might need to give it a little wiggle if it's stuck on there. Step 5, now you'll see your old CPU. There's usually a lever on the side. Pull that back to release the CPU. Carefully lift it out and set it aside. Step 6, it's time for the new CPU. Align it with the socket. There's usually a little triangle on one corner to guide you. Gently place it in without forcing it down. Step 7, lock it in place by pulling down the lever again. Step 8, now, apply a small pea-sized amount of thermal paste to the center of the new CPU. Step 9, reattach your CPU cooler, making sure it's seated properly. Step 10, close up your case, plug everything back in, and power it up. And there you have it, folks. The upgrade is done. Alright, now let's take a look at the whole process in action. I'm going to show you each step I just talked about so you can see exactly how it's done. Here's me opening up my case. Notice how I carefully handle the components. Now check this out as I remove the old CPU and install the new one. Remember, take your time and follow along with me. I'll make sure to highlight any tricky parts so you won't miss a beat. Now that you've seen the upgrade in action, let's go over some tips and best practices. First, always handle the CPU by the edges to avoid touching the pins. You want to keep those safe and clean. When applying thermal paste, don't go overboard. Remember, a little goes a long way. Also, make sure your workspace is clean and free of static. If you have an anti-static wrist strap, now's the time to use it. Keeping your components secure and clean will ensure a smooth installation. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's okay. If your computer doesn't boot up after the upgrade, there are a few common issues to check. First, ensure that the CPU is seated correctly. If it's not, it won't make proper contact. Next, double check all your power connections, especially to the motherboard and CPU cooler. If you're getting boot errors, it could be related to compatibility. Always make sure your motherboard supports the new CPU. And if all else fails, consult your motherboard's manual for troubleshooting tips, or check online forums for advice. Alright guys, let's recap what we did today. We started with removing the old CPU, installed the new one, and made sure everything was put back together properly. By following these steps, you've upgraded your AMD CPU without needing to change your motherboard. That's a fantastic way to boost your performance without breaking the bank. So, what are you waiting for? Give this upgrade a try yourself. I'd love to hear how it goes, so leave your feedback in the comments below. And if you're looking for more tips and tricks, don't forget to check out my other videos. Thanks for watching and happy upgrading.